Now, the deep state, the mainstream media, they are pushing everything they can to counter what Trump and the Patriots are saying. We have Joe Biden today. He came out with his presser, which is a complete disaster. We have the mainstream media telling us that this new chloroquine is very dangerous, but it's been approved by the FDA, and thousands of people have taken it around the world. And it's been around for 20 years, but they keep pushing the idea that all of this is dangerous. Why? Why are they so against all of this? Because this is not part of their event. This is not going the way they thought it was going to go. Remember, they're not in control of this. The Patriots are in control. And we are now seeing that the storm surge, it's about to hit. We're in the storm, and this surge that is approaching, it's about to hit. And we'll be talking about that in just a moment. But first, there have been reports that the Department of Justice was asking Congress for emergency powers. And we had Chuck Schumer and the rest of them out there saying, hell no, the judges aren't going to have all these powers, and we're not going to take away the basic rights of the people. And the Department of Justice came out and explained that, yeah, everything that they were saying was completely wrong. This is not what we were talking about. And this is from Kerry Kupek, Department of Justice. She said, there has been some confusion or reports about Department of Justice asking Congress for certain emergency powers. This was triggered by Congress asking Department of Justice for suggested proposals necessary to ensure that federal courts would be able to administer fair and impartial justice during pandemic. The following draft suggestions were developed in consultation with Congress and federal judiciary to help federal judges more consistently manage cases within their districts and protect interest of justice during the national emergency. So they weren't saying the executive branch is going to get all these powers. And it seemed that everyone was getting this message confused and mixed up. And it seems that the Department of Justice has now explained what they were talking about. And Congress approached the Department of Justice asking about this. Now, very interestingly, we know that this entire coronavirus is now spreading around the world. The mainstream media, the deep state, they're all pushing this as hard as they possibly can, saying that Trump is doing everything wrong. And Trump, he is using this to show the world why the mainstream media, the deep state, the Dems policies are completely backwards. He tweeted out, this is why we need borders. Because now he's showing the country that the entire world has closed their borders. Even in Europe, they're closing their borders. This is why we need borders. Sometimes you need to show the people why we need this and why the mainstream media, the deep state, the Ds, why their argument is so ridiculous. Now, very interestingly, the stimulus package, the coronavirus stimulus package, well, it seemed like it went absolutely nowhere in the Senate. Now, very interestingly, Rand Paul, Mitt Romney, Mike Lee, Cory Gardner, Rick Scott seemed to be quarantined while this vote was going on. Now, was this pre-planned to expose the Dems, to show what they're really all about? I'm starting to feel that way because the vote was 47-47. And the New York Times came out with 3 different headlines. The first one was, Democrats block action on $1.8 trillion stimulus. Then they changed it to, Democrats block action on stimulus plan seeking worker protections. Then they changed it to, partisan divide threatens deal on rescue bill. Trump tweeted out the following. The New York Times changed headlines 3 times in order to satisfy the radical left. What should have been a good story got worse and worse until the headline alone made it very unfair. Fake and corrupt news that is very dangerous for our country. So, once again, the Ds were exposed. Now, let's take this a step further. Rachel Bovard tweeted out the following and went through this 1,119 pages of this COVID-19 bill and found certain things that were very interesting, because what the Ds are talking about, they kind of skipped over and they didn't mention certain things. For example, let me read her first tweet. Pelosi's COVID-19 bill is 1,119 pages and contains provisions for conducting risk-limiting audits of results of elections. So yeah, it's really very focused on the crisis at hand. She continues, yes, requiring early voting will save us all from COVID-19. Here's more. Same-day voter registration, a longtime Dem wish list item, very relevant to addressing those business and working families about to go under from COVID-19. Here's another. You know what families who can't work and are struggling to make rent really care about? Being able to look up greenhouse gas emissions from the flights they can't afford to book. So this is, and there's a lot more that's stuffed in there. There is also news that there is something about abortion in this bill also. So what we're watching right now is the exposure of the Democrats. So we're in this crisis, and they are stuffing this bill with climate change, election information, abortion. What does this have to do with anything? You mean they don't care about the American people? They don't care about providing them with income right now? They don't care about the small businesses to keep them afloat? They only care about their agenda that nobody cares about right now? Think about it. All the people that are staying home, all the businesses that are shut down, all the people that aren't making money. Is this really the time to stuff in abortion, greenhouse gases, early election, and other election information? Is it really the time to do this? No, they're completely exposed. Now, Joe Biden, he came out and he decided to have his presser to counter everything that Trump is saying about the coronavirus. Now, it seems like his teleprompter might have gone down. He started to stumble. He waved his hand under the podium. It looked like he was a green screen and that was a fake background. And it seems that this whole thing completely failed on Biden once again. Now, very interestingly, we know that Trump, his administration, they've been telling everyone about social distancing, about keeping very small crowds, about not going out, staying home. And I do believe this is being done on purpose for the major operation because they're trying to limit exposure to the American people, and they're very worried about an event. Now, Dan Scavino, he continually puts this out there on his Twitter feed. He said it is absolutely critical that Americans continue to follow the federal government's guidelines about social distancing, non-essential travel, and hand washing. Defeating this unseen enemy, COVID-19, requires the help and commitment of every single American. And I do believe that all of this is in preparation for the main operation. And we are getting hint that there have already been operations going on while all of this was happening. Now, Trump, he announced that he has activated the National Guard in California, New York, and Washington. He said, I know this is a challenging time for all Americans. We are enduring a great national trial. We are at war in a true sense. We're at war. This is very interesting the way he worded this. He said that he activated the National Guard under Title 32 status, allowing the Guard to remain under the control of the governor, but is paid for by the federal government. Now, FEMA Administrator Peter Gaynor came out and said, I want you to understand this is not martial law. Now, if we look through Q's posts, Q really never mentions that we're going to be under martial law. And I believe that optics are very important. Why does the mainstream media keep pushing martial law? Why do certain corrupt politicians keep pushing martial law? Because this is exactly what they want. Remember, Trump is not following their plan. He's following his plan, the Patriots' plan that they created a while ago. They're doing everything opposite of what the deep state wants. This is why they're screaming and yelling. This is why the agencies are continually repeating the message that there is no martial law, countering the mainstream media. Remember, optics are very important. The governors of each state are telling everyone to self-quarantine, stay home. In some states, they're implementing curfews. The deep state doesn't want this because Trump is not authorizing it. They want him to say there's martial law. They want him to look like the dictator. Trump, the Patriot, they understand this. Each governor of each state is doing it on their own. And it removes everything from Trump. And the deep state, they are furious about this. Now, very interestingly, it has come out that there's going to be a rapid coronavirus test, and it's approved by the FDA. And you're going to find out the results in 45 minutes. And they're going to be distributing this in the next few weeks. So everyone is going to know if they have coronavirus or not. Now, we have to back up for a sec here because we know the World Health Organization, they were putting out a test that was giving out false positives 50 to 80% of the time. And if you noticed, the deep state, the mainstream media, Hillary Clinton, they were all out there, send out the test, send out the test, send out the test. Why did they want this? Because they wanted panic, they wanted chaos. Because if everyone took those tests, it would show that most of the country had coronavirus. And they knew that this test would give them what they wanted. Trump, they knew that this test was faulty. This is why they were pushing back on this. And they have the good tests that give a real indicator of if you have it or you don't have it. Now, what's very interesting is that Barack Obama, he decided to tweet out. He says, here's a useful summary of the current best thinking among public health experts on how we need to approach the fight against COVID-19 in the coming weeks. Now, remember, when this all started, the think tank that was telling Trump what to do, Trump did the opposite. Trump understands he has this small group of less than 10. He doesn't listen to the intelligence organizations. He doesn't listen to the think tanks because they're controlled by the deep state. Obama is out there trying to make it seem like, oh, Trump is not following this, and it's wrong. But let's go back in time a little bit about what happened during the H1N1 virus. And Handgun Instructor tweeted this out. By the time H1N1 had killed this number of people, a declaration of national emergency was still months away. That's the last guy I take advice from. He just kept telling us to wash our hands over and over again. And he listed a timeline here. H1N1 is cause for concern, not alarm. Obama, April 27, 2009. First H1N1 death reported in the U.S., April 29, 2009. That's 2 days later. He said, keep your hands washed, cover your mouth when you cough, stay home from work if you're sick, keep your children home from school if they're sick. Obama, April 29, 2009. This is from Biden. I wouldn't go anywhere in confined places now. April 30th, 2009. May 1st, 2009. Obama says he's optimistic about H1N1. Let me continue. He said, we have asked every American to take the same steps you would take to prevent any other flu. Keep your hands washed, cover your mouth when you cough, stay home from work if you're sick, and keep your children home from school if they're sick. May 2nd, 2009. May 12th, 2009, 3 confirmed dead from H1N1. June 1st, 17 confirmed dead. June 11th, the WHO said this is a pandemic. On July 10th, there were 211 confirmed dead. On August 8th, there were 477. On September 1st, 2009, Obama said, I don't want anybody to be alarmed, but I do want everybody to be prepared. October 23rd, Obama. The 2009 H1N1 influenza pandemic in the United States constitutes a national emergency. So since the beginning, when it started back when? In April, it took him until October to declare a national emergency. And by October 24th, the next day after he declared a national emergency, there were 1,000 deaths. By the end of all of this, there were 12,469 deaths because he waited so long. Now, we know that Trump gives pressers almost every single day. I think it is every single day now. And he is saying certain things during his pressers where he's giving hints of what is coming. Now, this is dirty truth. He tweeted out the following. @Real Donald Trump says, they should have been fighting the battle against AIDS long before. They had answered long before he came into office. Now, think about this. If we go back to post 252, Q said Red Cross is corrupt and used as a piggy bank. Future topic. Disease created by families in power. Population control. Pharma billions. Think AIDS. Future topic. Relevant. Again, post 693. When does Big Pharma make money? Curing or containing cancer, AIDS, etc. Mind will be blown by chain of command. So right there, Trump is letting us know that this should have been stopped a long time ago. They knew about it. They knew about the cure. They knew about it all. Now, during his presser, Trump decided to let out the information that there was an operation going on, which confirms to everyone that there are operations going on. And he decided to come out with this information during this pandemic. And we normally don't hear about this, but if POTUS is telling us about it, there is a specific reason he is mentioning it. Take a listen.
A couple of other locations that we'll report to you, and we were able to get a young woman released from a certain area who was being horribly accosted, horribly treated. And we spoke to General Milley. General Milley took care of it. We went in and we got her out. And we'll report further on that one. But that was rough stuff. I want to thank General Milley. I want to thank all of the people that were involved and the people that went in to get her. I want to thank you very much.
Now, he's talking about a young lady that they rescued from violent crimes and other things. He didn't expand on this. But when Mark Esper was giving a presser, there was a reporter that asked him about the hostage, and he said, the young lady is from Honduras, who is an American citizen, and she was involved in a violent crime. Take a listen to what Mark Esper said.
Yes, the hostage.
Well, we had a young lady, a young American, who was the victim of a violent crime in Honduras, I believe. She has been returned to the United States, and I just say, out of respect for her and her family, for her privacy, we'll just leave it at that.
So once again, there is a reason why this information was brought out to the public. Now, are we going to find out why this was brought out to the public? I do believe so. Trump wouldn't have mentioned it unless there was a specific reason. And we know from Q's past posts about when the storm hits, there might be false flags. And we're starting to get indication that the deep state might be planning something. And this is why Trump and the Patriots have been telling everyone to stay at home, don't congregate in more than 10 people, and all businesses are closed because I think they're trying to minimize damage when this operation takes place. This is coming out of ABC News. It says, white supremacists encouraging their members to spread coronavirus to cops, Jews, and they're monitoring the situation. So it looks like they're trying to push something, and this is why Trump, his administration, all the different agencies are telling everyone, listen, we need to stay at home. And this is why there are certain states, and I believe there's going to be a lot more states, telling everyone that we need to stay at home. Is there going to be martial law? No. Optics are very important. Now, Trump, he is pushing the cure right now. And he started the narrative a couple days ago. And the mainstream media, they are hitting back. Now, why did Trump need to start the narrative on this? Because once the operation is complete, he needs to stop the fear and panic. He needs to do it quickly. He understands this. This is why he started the narrative already. We knew that this was coming. We knew there was going to be some type of cure to make everyone feel relieved. And he started the narrative. What is the mainstream media doing right now? They're countering this with everything they have. Now, he mentioned chloroquine, and we have the mainstream media coming out with stories saying if you take too much of it, it can hurt you. We have CNN saying Nigeria records chloroquine poisoning after Trump endorses it for coronavirus treatment. They're doing whatever they possibly can to counter what Trump is trying to do, because this is not going the way they want it to go. They don't want this cured. Remember, their entire agenda is to cause panic, chaos, bring down the market, weaken Trump, blame Trump, and they don't want this to end. Trump, the Patriots, they know this. They understand what they've been trying to do. Why do you think Trump has started the narrative on chloroquine? And the mainstream media is trying to put out stories about how it's dangerous. If you take too much, it's not good for you. But we're getting information and tests that have been run in the past that this really does help. There was an individual who was 52. He was struggling with horrendous back pain, headaches, cough, fatigue. because he had COVID-19. He thought he was going to die. He took the chloroquine and he recovered. But again, the mainstream media, they're trying to push their agenda. And Trump tweeted out to confirm that the cure is on its way. He said, a great early result from a drug that will start tomorrow in New York and other places. COVID-19. Why New York? Optics are very important. Wasn't New York completely against Trump? Weren't they trying to get his tax information? Weren't they trying to set up separate laws about you have to produce your taxes if you want to run for president? That was smashed down by the Supreme Court. Weren't they trying to disbar Attorney General Barr? This is why I do believe Trump picked New York, because if they use this drug and they start to cure people, the entire country will be looking at this. Oh, look, he helped New York. New York is on his side. Governor Cuomo has been praising Trump recently, and we'll get into Cuomo in just a minute. Now, very interestingly, Trump also tweeted this out. I watch and listen to the fake news, CNN, MSDNC, ABC, NBC, CBS, some of Fox, desperately and foolishly pleading to be politically correct, the New York Times, and the Washington Post. And all I see is hatred of me at any cost. Don't they understand that they are destroying themselves? And this brings me back to March 23rd, 2019, a year ago. And it's amazing how this is all matching up. And it seems that the past posts are telling a story of how this is being played out. If we look at post 3168, we go to the bottom. It says their only defense is to play dumb, shocked and surprised to avoid collusion claims. Nobody walks away from this. What is he talking about? Well, up top, it shows the mainstream media, Acosta, Rachel Maddow, and others. And it's showing that the mainstream media, all they're doing is pushing the agenda of the deep state. So let me continue with post 3169. This is March 23rd, 2019. You are witnessing the collapse of the largest pre-planned and coordinated propaganda event in modern day history. Projection 101. Then we had Governor Cuomo. He came out and he said, we are in the relative calm before the storm. I repeat, the calm before the storm. Take a listen.
This is going to get much worse before it gets better. We are still in the relative calm before the storm. You're going to see the number of infections, the number of cases increase dramatically.
Now, was this just a coincidence that he said this? Now, think about this. We've had the Prime Minister from Ireland talk about the storm. We have Xi Jinping telling us about the storm. And now we have Cuomo talking about the storm. And if we go back to post 3173, again, March 23rd, 2019, it says the calm before the storm. The deep state is no longer in control. What happens when blockade threat is dismantled and removed? You'll find out. Fire at will, Commander. And I do believe that future does prove the past. Because if you really look, these past posts are laying out what is happening, and they're lining up perfectly with what is coming out from Cuomo, from the Prime Minister of Ireland, from Xi Jinping, and the rest. So let's go to post 3174. It says, you may start your attack, run. So each and every day, we get a little bit more of what is happening. So I do believe the surge of the storm is about to hit. And this is why Cuomo put this out there. And what's very interesting is he said this is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. But if you look at all the graphs, the amount of people infected, people dying, seems to be going the other way right now. But they keep saying it's going to get a lot worse. Now, the question is, a lot worse for who? For the everyday person or for other individuals? Because we do have a lot of elite, a lot of Hollywood actors and actresses that seem very confused about all of this, passing messages back and forth. Now, these individuals who are wealthy, many of them live on estates, they have the ability to do quite a bit. They have a staff, they can go out, they have estates, they can do all these things. But they seem to be acting very strange and sending messages back and forth. They seem very depressed, and it seems like something else is going on. And I do believe that this is all part of the storm. Now, Trump, he tweeted out the following: "We cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself. At the end of the 15-day period, we will make a decision as to which way we want to go." Letting us know, and I believe that the end of the 15th day is March 31st. So we have an operation going on because Trump confirmed with this rescue of this individual that there is an operation. I do believe there's other operations happening at the same time. He's letting us know that we're going to reevaluate and we're going to be on a different path after the 15 days. So we still have some time here that things are going to get a little crazy. In the mainstream media, the corrupt politicians, they're going to push their agenda as hard as they possibly can. Now, very interestingly, we have the U.S. Army out there tweeting, "When the sun goes down, our best is ready to stand watch." We also have the U.S. Navy. "Time to take care of business, shipmates." Does this mean that operators are ready to go? That the storm surge is about to hit? Could be. And as we look at other days and other posts, the story is being laid out for us. And the elite, the Hollywood actors and actresses, the mainstream media, they seem very confused on what is going on. Why Trump is not following the advice of certain people, why he's doing something completely opposite. And this is why they're getting very angry. This is why they're out there saying that his pressers need to be taken down, that he's not following what he's supposed to follow from these individuals. He's doing the complete opposite because the Patriots' plan is different than their plan. The Patriots' plan is to go after these individuals. They have certain operations that they have to complete. This is not about the coronavirus. This is something completely different. And they're getting upset and angry that Trump is not following the advice of certain individuals. They did this when he first came into his presidency, where he wasn't listening to the intelligence agencies. They already had a plan. And the deep state, the mainstream media, they don't know what to do with this. Hollywood doesn't know what to do with this. And I believe they're all caught up in this. And yes, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Because I do believe